Hey guys, in this video, we're going to talk about how to get out of every rank up to platinum. So if you want some tips on how to climb out of your elo, then this video is for you. I know there are some situations where you can't do much, so just know that you'll be at a disadvantage when you do try to play. When it comes to gameplay, I consider iron and bronze basically the same rank. So let's hop on over to bronze and see what you have to do in order to escape. The first thing you need to do might disappoint you, but I have to say it at the beginning, is that you need to develop some mental toughness. In low elo, it is so tempting to blame our bad teammates for our losses and never end up getting better. Bronze players are usually newer to the game, so understand that it is a very molding time. You can either be a player who joined the culture of flaming and blaming and never actually improving yourself, or you can be different and learn to only scrutinize your own gameplay, and if you do, you'll watch your rank increase really fast. If you've been bronze for many years, it's not too late to adopt this mentality so that you can be mentally ready for the infuriating AFKs, trolls, and other weird things that happen at this elo. Alright, now onto the actual gameplay. The map doesn't exist for bronze players. The map is probably the single most important thing on your HUD because it shows you the larger picture of the game. It tells you where your teammates are, where the enemies are, what towers are up or down, what jungle camps have spawned, what neutral objectives are on the map. It is so important. But wards don't matter if you never look at the map to see if anyone passes over them. So before you worry about ward placement and anything else, make it a habit to look at your map every 10 seconds. One thing that you can do that might help is increasing the size of your map by going into your settings and going to interface. If you're watching this video, it's because you're curious as to what you need to change in your game in order to climb and get a higher rank. But
now for gold players, you guys don't take full advantage of the things that the game offers you. I cannot tell you guys how many times I've yelled at my computer screen for a gold player to scan a beacon or use a crafter. Stormpoint as a map offers a ton of advantages to players, and I see a lot of gold players not take full advantage of those things. The crafters, the spiders, the prowlers, and this season, the IMC armories all offer players so many things that they are always worth taking. So guys, don't be afraid to craft. You can just have someone watching for teams while you do so. Or even if you need some extra attachments, killing a few spiders or prowlers on your way to zone is always a good idea. Doing these small things will put you in a much better spot for fights, and it's something that is holding players back when they don't do them. Now next up though, we have Platinum. Platinum used to be the average rank for Apex the last couple seasons, but now you can actually lose a lot of points here. So this is where placement really starts to matter. It does matter in other ranks, but this is where you really need those top 5 boosts. So how do you start getting more of those placement points? Well, in theory, it's pretty simple because you just need to learn how to read zone pulls. Zone logic is fairly simple in Apex. It tends to follow the same patterns, meaning if the circle is favoring one side of the map, it will tend to pull that way again. And if you're able to scan beacon and you see 2 circles are touching on the edge somewhere, it will hard pull to that side. Now that can be a bit hard for some people to visualize, so to help.
Do not ever use your fragile resins, at least until you're AR level 45. You've probably heard this from other people time and time again, and it's for a good reason too. This is a very crucial tip, since using these to farm materials in the early game is going to be a waste. You can't really get any of the good shit in the early game anyways, so it's best just to save them until AR level 45 and to grind the fuck out of those artifact domains, because trust me, you will be stuck there for a while. Make sure you guys look up which weapons fit each character, because not all weapons can work on every character. Like, Wolf's Gravestone is not a good weapon on Noel. Please stop doing that. If you're questing and you're annoyed at Paimon's little voice, you can do this neat little life hack. You can go here, volume, and bap. There you go. Easy fix. Do not let random people join your world. Trust me, they do not want to become your friend. They just want to yoink your shit. Meta slaves will argue with me, but I am a firm believer that every character in this game can work. If you want to play Lisa, you can. If you want to play Xiangling, you can. If you want to play Kaya, you're going to get bullied, but yeah, sure, you can. Anything can work as long as you have good artifacts, a decent weapon, and the right team comp built around them. Hell, I even used to main DPS Barbara. It can work, trust me. Don't worry too much about artifacts in the early game, or at least until you start getting some purple ones, since you're going to be getting rid of the level 1, 2, and 3 artifacts to upgrade the newer ones. But before then, just put on whatever you can find and focus on upgrading the character and the weapon. This game is actually pretty generous when it comes to giving you free rolls, but don't let this get you addicted, because before you know it, you'll be spending countless amounts of money just to try and get all the different waifus. It also requires you to log in.
Now, the bottom line that you need to understand in order to win more games is to understand and accept the fact that you are the reason why you can't rank up. A lot of people say that they can't rank up or win games because of their bad teammates. While this is partially true, you aren't stuck in your rank because of bad teammates. Pro players don't reach Radiant just by luck. Their skill is what gets them there. If you deserve a rank, you will be able to achieve it. There are so many factors and variables that are out of your control, but any rank is achievable if you deserve it. It's very important that you guys understand this and hold yourselves accountable, because that is the only way that you will improve. The first tip in order to win more games is to make sure that you have a solid warm-up routine and don't just instantly queue comp. If you boot up Valorant and just instantly go into a comp game, you will not be performing at your peak. Making sure that you're warming up beforehand and that you're ready to play is very important. I think a pretty solid warm-up is to do the Prems method in the range and then afterwards queue a few death matches. The Prems method is a warm-up routine that you can do in the range. Prems stands for practice bots, recoil control, easy bots, medium bots, and strafe and movement practice. I have a video on improving your aim, and this method is in there, so I'd recommend that you guys go watch that after this video. But making sure that you're also playing a lot of deathmatch is just as important. Another underrated warm-up routine is playing an unrated. In unrated, you should be going up against people of similar skill level, and it's actually good practice because it's the exact same thing as a competitive match. The only difference between competitive and unrated is that there is no rank attached. The only issue is that unrateds could be kind of long and might get boring, but it's still really good practice.
Coming in second, make sure that you are playing to improve and not necessarily for the win. I know it sounds super cliche, but the reality of it is that it is extremely true. It is important to change your mindset early. A win should be that you learn something from the game and not a literal win. I know the idea is that you should climb fast, but in just a week's time, you will see the results of your success. The only way you will climb from plat to diamond and above is by improving. This is especially apparent with the Smurf problems you will see most predominantly at 2900, 3400, and 3900. To earn your rank, you must be able to beat the players that you'll play against at the next level, which takes time and practice. I will also take this time to make sure you ask yourself a very important question. Is the improvement process something that is fun and enjoyable to you? In other words, are you going to be consistent? If you don't like pushing yourself and seeing yourself improve, this guide doesn't really help you out much. The only way you are going to see results is if you focus and put your grind towards improvement, and it is really important to identify your motives before you waste any of your time. The moment that you take your view of Overwatch from just being a game to being a serious esport is the moment you will see improvement, which leads us into our next part, which is how to effectively VOD review. If you're on this video, it is pretty likely that you are familiar with the idea of looking over your own gameplay. However, there are a lot of different ways that work for different people. It is important to learn from your mistakes, but there are some situations where you don't realize the mistakes you are making, and that is when you get stuck at ranks. Take the time to go back through each game, whether it was a win or a loss, and try to deduce why you died when you did. Were you in a position where you were not properly